Good morning. It's Steve here. Uh, it's July 7th, 2020, early in the morning here in Casper, Wyoming. Uh, Today, I want to talk to you about get into action. So, um, a key to having a successful life, being happy, a lot of times it's just getting into action. Part of the problem I was having for a lot of years was I just didn't wake up in the morning. I'd wake up, but I wouldn't actually. I'd be awake, but I would just lay there, and my mind would start going into these excuse mode. I call it. We go into excuses. I'd say, well, I'm gonna, I'll get the, I'll get up here in a minute. I'm not I'm still tired. I would start going through, it won't hurt to lay here a little bit longer. And, the problem is, um, it's interesting. I would wake up in just enough time to be basically right on time. So I'd get to work right on time. I mean, I wouldn't have, and sometimes I'd have to really rush and rush through, and I wouldn't have any time for myself most of the time I wouldn't have time to eat even. I mean, in the morning, I would just get up and hit the ground running. Um, and so a big decision, so I want to call it, so make a decision. So getting into action sometimes is just making a decision and just saying, all right, you know I made some decisions this year, the beginning of this year. One of them was that I'm just not going to allow myself to not work out and to get into shape, and taking that responsibility. I hurt my back, and I did it at moving this shelf, and I got to admit that I had a little bit of time, not much, but a little bit of time. I started to blame. Well, if I wouldn't, it's their fault for asking me to help with moving this shelf, you know, and when you get into blaming others, you just won't go anywhere in life. You've got to take personal responsibility. That was completely 100% my fault. And, that's such a freeing way to live, is just take total 100% responsibility for everything that happens in my life, and I don't use excuses. Oh, it was an accident. It wasn't an accident. I know this sounds a little counterintuitive here, but when you take 100% responsibility for your life, for what happens, it's so freeing, and it's such a empowering way to live. And so, because the other alternative, if I went down that road and said, all right, I'm going to blame everybody for my back being hurt. I had this really bad pain in my back. It was shooting pains right between my shoulder blades, and they would shoot, down my shoulders and into my arms, and it felt like knives were going into my back. Anytime I tried to, bend over, lift anything over about 10 pounds, I was experiencing pain. And like I said, at first I was going down the pity party. I feel sorry for myself. But when I took that responsibility and said, no, this is my fault, and then make some decisions to get into action. You know what? I went. I already kind of knew that if I went to see a surgeon, a surgeon's going to want to do surgery. And I'm not saying that, I knew I didn't break anything. I was just experiencing a lot of pain. I tore a tendon. I pulled some muscles. I mean, like a couple months went by, and I was still experiencing all these pains. And so I went to, I decided to do all the alternative stuff first. So I went to have massages, and that helped a little bit. And then I found this electrical therapy, and that helped a little bit. But ultimately, it still was there. So I heard about, I was, I'm one of the action things that I do is I'm into action every day of trying to, I not try, I am committed to self improvement and education that way, self education or self development. And so I am constantly listening to videos that help me to grow and learn about myself. and learn to be better, and learn to be a a person that I want to become. And so I was listening, I think, to Les Brown, a motivational speaker, and he started, he's in his 60s now, and he started talking about the importance of doing push-ups. And something clicked inside, and sometimes you just have to go off your intuition, and when something clicks, or something like a light bulb went off, and I thought push-ups, and thought, I haven't tried push-ups, with my back now, so I decided, I thought I'm going to start doing push-ups. So I got down and I did, I think, 20 push-ups, and boy, did it hurt my back. I mean, you talk about, the pain back behind my back, and my shoulder blades are hurt so much. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to commit to doing this. And I think the first thing I did, and this is about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I made it a goal to do 500 push-ups a day, and give myself a couple of days off a week, rest days. And actually, I started doing that, and I could only do 20 that first day. And then the next day I did probably 30, and I just slowly built up, and over a period of a few months, I got up to about 500 a day, and I kind of stayed at 500 a day for quite a while, probably 8 or 9 months. And but I was taking those 2 days off, and sometimes 3 days off during the week. And it was a little bit, I was consistent, as I do it at least 3 to 4 times, most of the weeks 5 times a week. But it was a little inconsistent because I wasn't doing it all the time. So anyway, so last Christmas, so the Christmas of 2019, I went to Phoenix, and we had a family Christmas, all my sisters and stuff from around the country, and nephews, and mom and dad and uncles and stuff. Everybody was there, and I missed a few days of this push-ups, and but anyway, to go reverse a little bit, my back started feeling a lot better. I mean, I barely had a pain. It was like I could start lifting stuff. I mean, after doing these push-ups, it was a great decision, and like I said, that idea really came to fruition.